Yesterday we had quite a few stories in regards to voting, um, primaries, and regulations that I just saw a obvious pattern from the Supreme Court ruling on unions could mark the end of the Democratic Party, and I didn't read that article, so I think I'll go ahead and read part of that today. And in this one, in Harris versus Quinn, in Illinois, in-home health care workers sued the state over compulsory union dues. Because she is paid with Medicaid funds, the state considers her a public employee, therefore a member of the Service Employees International Union, saying that the dues were forced association and forced speech prohibited by the First Amendment. Pamela Harris sued Illinois and the SEIU. In a 5-4 ruling along ideological lines, the court ruled that partial public employees, like Harris, cannot be forced to pay union dues. And so there's other stories, addressing voters and the parties and finances goes into parties. These stories all were emerging last week, although, the initial issues themselves have been in the works for quite a while. But it looks like the 2014 election is going to be a very interesting one. Obviously, this isn't, it doesn't kill the Democrat Party right away, but because the Democratic Party, as a party, their primary source of revenue is from unions. And so even while you have Democrats yelling about big businesses putting money into the elections and it not being fair, on the other hand, you have somebody saying, I don't want to be forced for my money to go towards the Democratic Party. And it doesn't mention that she's a Republican. It doesn't mention the Republican Party really at all. It's just a simple, this lady has the right to free association. And that phrase in of itself did come up in one of the other stories. Can't remember what the title of that one was. But yeah, so that I thought that was an interesting pattern that we see here. The Rutherford Institute, I think we read this one, was the First Amendment lawsuit challenging discriminatory election laws that favor major parties. So again, it's a lawsuit. This one was in Virginia, and they filed suit with the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia to strike down Virginia's laws requiring Democrat and Republican candidates to be given the first and higher spots on ballots. The Republicans and Democrats are automatically on the ballots, whereas any challengers, whether they're from a smaller party or independents, they have all these hoops that they have to go through that the two major established parties, they don't. Why? Because they already own the monopoly. And basically the Republicans and Democrats are hardly challenging one another. It's just it's a scam to keep people from challenging them. We have a duopoly on that. I won't read that one again because I did cover that one yesterday. But if you want to read that story, and I encourage you to do so, you can read that on our homepage, just like all the stories yesterday too. And if you want to listen to yesterday's program because you didn't listen to it, you can find that one listed on our archives on our website. Okay, another one having to do with the elections Well, this isn't directly, but it goes to election finances and candidate finances, and this is one I actually wanted to read, but I skipped over because there was like so many other stories I wanted to get to. But this one is Fox News, one of Hillary Clinton's biggest donors for better part of 2 decades. And this was written by Michael Lotfi, and so it was actually originally published on his website, and benswan.com shared it with permission. So they republished it on July 3rd. But in this story it says, to many it seems contrary to intuition that Fox News could be one of the Clinton family's largest donors for the better part of 2 decades. Check your intuition at the door. It's true. According to Federal Election Commission and Center for Responsive Politics data, 21st Century Fox News Corp has donated more than $3 million to Clinton family accounts. Overall, this lands Fox as the Clintons family's 9th largest donor over the course of the family's political involvement. And honestly, I don't find this very surprising. Actually, I'm a little surprised that they're not higher on the list. Fox News is owned by a British man who's gotten himself in all kinds of trouble because of his media shenanigans over in the UK. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, and I should know it. I'll probably think of it later. But who comes in above Fox News, or 21st Century Fox? And it is listed as 21st Century Fox / News Corp. And it gives a list of how much they donated to Clinton since 1992. And there's another list for Obama since 2012. Now, I think that's a little disingenuous of a comparison to go with Clinton all the way back to 1992, and Obama in 2012, whereas, yes, Obama is a very newcomer. His political career, though, goes way back farther than that. Of course, the Clintons do too, because they started in Arkansas, but, he was in Congress, so I would have started back with his congressional campaign. But that's just my thought on a good comparative on this. But anyway, Fox News, of course, is not listed on Obama's top donors, even though Fox is listed for Clinton. Okay, so back to who comes in ahead. We have NewsWeb, which is a large number, Slim Fast, and American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. So, wow, Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. I wonder if that's like a union, just like what we were talking about in the previous article. So they're coming as their 3rd largest donor. Very interesting. And Coca-Cola Company comes in as number 4, and it's only by a smaller margin. Sorry, getting tongue-tied this morning. Goldman Sachs. Now, Goldman Sachs is something that a lot of people, if they talk about donors, Goldman Sachs usually comes up a lot more frequently than these others do. So, kind of puts it back in retrospect that he's only like number 4 on that. And I'm not seeing him listed on the Obama side at all. Citigroup, Services Employees International Union, Communication Workers of America. Yeah, communications, yay, we're talking about media and everything, twisting stuff. So, there you go. They come in right above 21st Century Fox. And right below 21st Century Fox is International Brotherhood of Electoral Workers. So there's another, I guess, some form of union or professional association group. And we have Walt Disney, DreamWorks, Time Warner. Okay, so we got 3 big movie industries there. Well, 4 if you count 21st Century Fox. So wow, that's a lot of food for thought. And there's a few more listed on that. Let's see. There's a few other stories involving elections here. Okay, yeah, this one on, I think this was in New Jersey. Another lawsuit. On Thursday, so this is Thursday and last week, New Jersey voters responded in court to a motion to dismiss a lawsuit filed by New Jersey Secretary of State Kim Guadagno. Investigative journalist Ben Swan first placed a spotlight on the lawsuit in March when he discussed partisanship on an episode of Truth in Media. New Jersey requires that a voter affiliate with a political party approved by the state as a precondition to participating in the primary process. So again, it's the state approves parties. What happened to that freedom there? This requirement has created major problems for the 47.6% of voters in New Jersey who don't fall into the state's approved category of either Democrat or Republican. That's a huge margin of people not, eligible voters who aren't associated with one or the other party. I mean, that's almost half your voting population right there. I mean, wow. Yet are still required to fund the primary elections through tax dollars. Those who weren't being properly represented in New Jersey chose to fight back with a lawsuit using the organization and partisanship. Partisanship is a coalition formed by leaders from different political organizations who seek to break the two-party system's hold on primary elections by making their candidates stronger, and by giving a voice to those who either have a third-party affiliation or none at all. A legal advisor from the Independent Voter Project, Chad Peace, described partisanship as having developed a state-by-state legal strategy defending the rights of individual independent voters in the courtroom. The lawsuit partisanship filed in New Jersey was a first from the organization, and its leaders plan to use it as a blueprint they can eventually apply to other states. Ben Swan explained that the suit seeks to protect the fundamental right to vote under the New Jersey and United States Constitutions, which have no requirement that a voter forfeit their First Amendment right not to associate with a political party. In May, General John J. Hoffman, an attorney for the Secretary of State's office, filed a motion to dismiss the challenge on the constitutionality of New Jersey's primary election system. New Jersey Secretary of State Kim Guadagno responded to the constituents by arguing that while American citizens in New Jersey do not have a right to vote in primary elections, political parties do have a right to use taxpayer dollars to fund them. It's a rather bold statement and completely twisted. Well, okay, I'll give the caveat. That's my opinion that it's twisted. The supporters of partisanship took to court on July 3rd to respond to the motion to dismiss the lawsuit. They stated that they had simply asked the state to ensure that the publicly funded primary election system not function as a private enterprise that deprives them of their ability to cast a meaningful vote. They pointed out that by keeping their votes from having equal representation, the state confers on those private political parties a gratuitous advantage. And that was a quotation. The confers on those private political parties a gratuitous advantage. It's a good quote too. The lawsuit acknowledged the fact that giving the state the veil of state sovereignty would de facto immunize private interests from constitutional scrutiny whenever the state or an actor of the state is so influenced by those private interests that they become one and the same. That's also a very, very good quote there. And it's true, and we've seen this happen, and it's not just in New Jersey. It affects our federal elections. And I think it's just absolutely great that this year, during a midterm elections, people are stepping up in their states to try to break the duopoly and this vicious cycle of state-controlled party, party-controlled state. You know, the two entities, they just merge. And the Republicans and Democrats, you know, they're no better than one another. There's a reason why the voters in New Jersey don't want to associate with either party. I don't blame them on that. And I think this is great that they're standing up like this, but we'll see how this goes. The lawsuit went on to say that while the state looks to extend its holding by arguing that voters have no fundamental right to participate in the primary stage of an electoral process, the plaintiff contends that the state's primary election system, taken as a whole, confers a special benefit to the dominant private political parties and their members to the complete exclusion of nearly half of all registered voters. And again, the nearly half is referring to the state of New Jersey. Wow. And, you know, the number or percentage of disenfranchised voters is going to vary from state to state. But I think this is interesting because sometimes I listen to Judge Napolitano. He's from New Jersey, and he had been a judge, I guess, in their, state court. And, sorry, I can't think proper legal terms here. And when he talks on issues about abortion, you know, he agrees in that his state's like the worst on abortion, because they even have post-birth abortions. And it's, you know, but there's people like him who are absolutely grieved by this. And yet, you know, both Republican and Democrat parties in that state are so corrupt, and they have such monopoly that it becomes almost impossible to fix it. In fact, it is impossible unless you break up this duopoly of the Democratic Republican parties. Another quote, couple more quotes here. Plaintiffs assert the necessity of an electoral system that provides all voters an equal, meaningful opportunity to participate at all integral stages of the election process, including the primary, stated the lawsuit. At a time when unaffiliated voters make up At a time when unaffiliated voters make up 47% of the state's electorate, the need for judicial intervention is compelling. And this story was written by Rachel Belvins. She's one of the contributing columnists or writers here at benswan.com. And I did want to make sure, you know, I don't always read the names of the people who wrote the articles, even if I say, you know, the website that the article's on. But I do want to give her kudos because I think she did a pretty good job at selecting quotes and putting things in a pretty good perspective here. And I'm pretty sure there was another story on election systems, one or two more. Well, let's see. The Libertarians branded new communists at Bloomberg. I didn't read that one, like, either on the air or off the air. I just kind of glanced at that. I'm like, ooh, okay. But, yeah, we'll read this one. This is by Jack Kennedy. It's at thenewamerican.com. The trite joke used to be that right-wing zealots would look for communists under the bed. A pair of political commentators writing at Bloomberg.com apparently can find them at the Cato Institute or perhaps at LewRockwell.com. According to venture capitalists Nick Hanaru and Eric P. Liao, a former domestic policy advisor to President Bill Clinton, radical libertarians, in quotation marks, are the new communists. The authors acknowledge the apparent contradiction. Most people would consider radical libertarianism and communism polar opposites. The first glorifies personal freedom, the second would obliterate it. Yet, the ideologies are simply mirror images, they contend. Both attempt to answer the same questions and fail to do so in similar ways. Where communism was adopted, the result was misery, poverty, and tyranny. If extremist libertarians ever translated their beliefs into policy, it would lead to the same kinds of catastrophes, as the quotation marks. Since the extremist libertarians rarely get the opportunity to translate their beliefs into policy, Hanara and Liao are hard-pressed to find evidence in support of their thesis. They go so far as to claim Somalia as an example. It is in failed states such as Somalia, they contend, that libertarianism finds its fullest actual expression. Really, while some hardcore libertarians are self-proclaimed anarcho-capitalists, most would welcome a return to good old U.S. constitutional government. It might be possible to find American libertarians calling for a central government run by rival tribal chieftains, but they would be rarer than hen's teeth. The authors define radical libertarianism as the ideology that holds that individual liberty trumps all other virtues. That's a stretch. Libertarians, by definition, hold liberty as their primary value. So did many, perhaps most, of the founders of our republic, especially those who risked their lives, fortunes, and sacred honor for freedom and independence from the British Empire. Surely it is true of those who composed and ratified the Bill of Rights. But individual freedom need not trump, in quotation marks, but may coexist with other values worthy of the name. It should, however, trump any value attached to the alleged right of some to the fruits of the labor and enterprise of others. It should trump also the value of having government compel some people to provide services others may obviously others may want, as is the case with the federal contraceptive mandate in the maze of regulations in what is known as Obamacare. Of course, Obamacare is just a whole bunch of crazy mandates anyway. Alright, so of course that's just the introduction really of this article, and it goes on. I didn't know if he was going to talk about libertarianism in particular or libertarian as in the party, so that's why I mentioned it. Okay, that was the last of our stories from last week that we talked about yesterday in the News Blitz rundown, having to do with elections. And I guess that's good timing because I think, we're just about out of time for the day. Okay, well, that went by really quickly. So now we're going to move on to our Proverbs of the day to close out this morning's program. Today we're on Proverbs chapter 8, this being July 8th. Doth not wisdom cry, and understanding put forth her voice? She standeth in the top of high places, by the way, in the places of the paths. She crieth at the gates, at the entry of the city, at the coming in at the doors. Unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of man. O ye simple, understand wisdom, and ye fools, be ye of an understanding heart. Hear, for I will speak of excellent things, and the opening of my lips shall be right things. For my mouth shall speak truth, and wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are in righteousness, There is nothing forward or perverse in them. They are all plain to him that understandeth, and right to them that find knowledge. Receive my instruction, and not silver, and acknowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. I, wisdom, dwell with prudence, and find out knowledge of witty inventions. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride, arrogancy, and the evil way of the froward mouth do I hate. Counsel is mine, and sound wisdom. I am understanding, I have strength. By me kings reign, and princes decree justice. By me princes rule, and nobles, even all the judges of the earth. I love them that love me, and those that seek me early shall find me. Riches and honor are with me, yea, durable riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold, yea, than fine gold, and my revenue than choice silver. I lead in the way of righteousness in the midst of the paths of judgment, that I may cause those that love me to inherit substance, and I will fill their treasures. The Lord possessed me in the beginning of his way, before his works of old. I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning, or ever the earth was. When there was no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no fountains abounding with water. Before the mountains were settled, before the hills was I brought forth. While as yet he had not made the earth, nor the fields, nor the highest part of the dust of the world. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass upon the face of the depths. When he established the clouds above. When he strengthened the fountains of the deep. When he gave to the sea his decree, that the waters should not pass his commandment. When he appointed the foundations of the earth. Then I was by him, as one brought up with him, and I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him, rejoicing in the habitable part of his earth, and my delights were with the sons of men. Now therefore hearken unto me, O ye children, for blessed are they that keep my ways. Hear instruction, and be wise, and refuse it not. Blessed is the man that heareth me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my doors. For whoso findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death.